Hello and welcome to a new video. The rework for the Templar is finally live and we have a lot of changes, so I'm updating my Crusader Templar guide here for Project Ascension Conquest of Azeroth. In this guide I will tell you all new talents you need, new rotation, new gear with the recent release of Molten Core and Onyxia, and everything else you need to know about the Templar class. Let's dive into it. The Templar rework is live and they adjusted a few things. I will do a short overview of everything which has changed. Our oaths are no longer able to stack up 20 times now. Now you can only stack up your oath 10 times. This means Righteous Lunge, Condemn and Holy Cleave can only stack up 10 times now. They also removed the oath chain renewer of Argent Blade, so Argent Blade is now only proccing Scorchbane and no longer will extend your oath chain. For compensation, they buffed a few of our abilities. For example, Blade of Faith does way more damage now as it did before, and also Condemn is a bit better than before. And beside that, they also adjusted a lot of our talents. Overall, this makes this class a little bit weaker than it was before, but honestly it was just too OP. But in compensation, our single target damage is stronger than it was before and our AoE damage is still good. So the Templar is a little bit nerfed. The Crusader Templar is weaker than it was before. Overall, it's healthy for the game. Since we don't want to extend our oath chain anymore, we play the class a little bit different. We now have a rate up rotation on single target and also kind of on AoE scenarios, which goal is to increase your oath chains, then use your dots to keep them snapshot on the enemy. I will show you this on the rotation section later on. The class has lost a lot of its complexity. It's way easier to play now, though it's more friendly for casual players, but it lost its power for sure on the Crusader spec for this quality of life. So when we look into our talents, what has changed? I now take Blade of Faith because this is part of our main rotation now. I will go into the rotation later on. Divine Force for a jump to the enemy, 1 point into Spiritual to increase our energy regeneration. Energy overall is no problem at all anymore. You don't have to micromanage your energy because you have so much support for it now, which is a good quality of life update for the class. 2 points into Courage for more movement speed, 1 point into Deep Meditation to increase the duration of our oath chain by 5 seconds. Since we can't extend it anymore outside of the execute phase, this is a really good talent. 1 point into Pierce to increase all our primary attributes. Libram of Tenacity, we still want to go with the haste update for all of our Librams, so we want every Libram we can grab. Same as Libram of Fervor, just a good steroid. 1 point into Holy Crusader to reduce the cooldown of Divine Force. 1 point into Liberty to reduce the cooldown of our Librams by 30 seconds. Blessed Strikes reduce the energy cost of our Oathbreakers. Interdict as kick effect. Deep Secrets increases the duration of our Librams and Testaments by 10 seconds. Holy Constitution to increase our damage against undead. Martyr to increase the effectiveness of Gift of Seal. This got renamed and now Greater Gift of Seal has the same name. 30 to increase our maximum health and energy by 10%. Tenacious Defender, this is basically just to get through with the tree. 1 point into Mark of Agrima to reduce the energy cost of our Testaments by 50%. Finesse to increase our critical strike chance. Judgment of the Gods increases the critical strike chance of our Titan Strike, our Execute. Determined, you don't have to use it. I like it. It now makes after you use Temple Guardian your next ability within 5 seconds free cost. Sanctify, this is really good. Now our Libram spells also grant us 10% increased melee haste for 20 seconds. Super good. And because of this, we want to cycle through our Librams to get this buff permanent up. And finally, Glory, another attack speed steroid. Now let's look inside the Crusader tree. Righteous Tempest, we never use this anymore. This is absolutely useless for us now. Argent Blade, it's also a button you don't press often anymore in your rotation. It's just a filler to get Scarlet Hammer on. I will show you the passive talent in a second. Agrima's Rage, 6% more holy critical strike chance and 10 expertise. 2 points into Pure Focus for a 10% higher chance to trigger Scorchbane and increase our hit by 4%. Scorchbane is our passive ability. Every time we use a direct damage ability, we have a 30% chance to strike again with Scorchbane, which deals 50% weapon damage plus 509 holy flame damage. Also always crits against undead after the recent update. A Warrior of Tur, this talent is insanely good because with this, every time we deal periodic damage, we generate 10 energy. Before it was a proc, now it always does this and this enables our energy regeneration permanently. You will never starve energy anymore with this talent, because we want to stack up Condemn 4 times, and together with Blade of Faith, you have permanent energy flow with this talent. 1 point into Tyrelric, increase critical damage of our holy spells and abilities by 15%. Warrior of Dawn makes our melee damage dealt a 10% chance to reset the cooldown of Argent Blade. Paladin Training increases the damage and reduces the energy cost of Righteous Lunge and Argent Blade by 20%. Scarlet Secret allows our Oath Retribution to critical increase the damage of 5% of our Argent Blade. Teachings of the Cathedral allows our Oath Condemn to provide an additional 3% critical strike chance. We don't want Scarlet Secrets anymore, because we honestly don't press it so often anymore with the new rotation, so we take 3% increased crit instead. Fierce Blessing now allows our Condemn to stack 1 additional time. They changed this node here, which allowed you to spread Condemn with Righteous Tempest before. With this node here, Templar's Might, this were here before. We don't have to take it anymore, and it's way better to go through the talent tree now. Retribution allows our melee damage to has a 20% chance to strike additional times for 30% of the damage as holy damage. This is a really good ability and is often a big part of your damage. Judgment increases the damage of Scorchbane, Scarlet Hammer and Titan Strike by 25% on enemies in execute phase. Focused increases the damage of Blade of Faith and Righteous Tempest by 25%. Pretty good. 2 points into Radiant Blade, because it increases the effectiveness of our Oath Righteous Lunge by 50%. Super important, because that's our bread and butter skill. Divine Strikes, every time you deal damage with Scorchbane now, it increases the damage of Argent Blade by 5% for 6 seconds, stacking up 10 times. 1 point into Serendipity allows you to give 3% more damage dealt to all party members and reduces the cost of your spells and ability by 5%. We now take Legacy of the Silverhand, because when we activate Argent Blade or Scarlet Hammer, it increases the next 2 instances of damage dealt with Scorchbane and allows it to critically strike. It increases the critical damage of Scorchbane by 25% on top of it. The reason for this is Testament of Strength is not worth taking anymore, because we don't want to extend our oath chains anymore for so long, because it's not possible to keep them up anymore anyway. So instead we take this passive bonus for more Scorchbane damage, which is just better. And finally, Scarlet Champion. This is basically like Vengeance for the Retribution Paladin, stacking up 5 times and increases your damage and holy damage dealt. At 5 stacks you get High General. When you press Chastise, it consumes all stacks of Scarlet Champion to deal 15% increased direct damage and guarantees them to critically strike. Passive abilities haven't changed at all. We convert Spell Power from Agility and Crit from Intellect. Scarlet Training transforms our Argent Blade into Scarlet Hammer, or if you don't want to take it like this, if you have a macro, just leave an open button on your taskbar, because then it will proc here. And when you drop the Scarlet Hammer, you deal holy damage and decrease the armor of your enemy by 10% and allows you to heal when you attack the target. Also, you get 30 energy back after you cast it with improved Scarlet Hammer, your next passive talent. And finally, Martial Training allows your Chastise and Scarlet Hammer to deal additional 100% weapon damage. For stats, as a Templar, we want Agility. This is our main stat. It increases our damage by a lot, and it also converts into Spell Power. Attack Power and Spell Power, of course, is our second really good stats, which directly increase our damage. Next, you want Haste and Crit, because Crit allows us with our Vengeance buff from High General to do more damage, while Haste simply allows us to decrease the global cooldown of our spells. It's not working for melee spells to reduce the global cooldown, but it's working for everything else, like our finishers, and we have a lot of buttons still to press, so Haste is helpful here. Also, we simply get more attacks in, which is really good. Intellect, finally, because we convert Intellect directly into Crit with our passive talent. And of course, before we go into all of this, we need to get certain thresholds. You always need 8% hit and you need 26 expertise. As a human, you get 3 expertise for free with maces and swords, but this allows our abilities and attacks to never get dodged or to miss. Now, in the phase we are in, we also want to get 60 spell penetration, because spell penetration directly increases every spell damage we do, which is holy damage, for example with Condemn or Blade of Faith, or with our passive abilities and Scorchbane, also with our Librams. So this means with 60 spell penetration, you will do a flat amount more damage than without it. This is because Ascension has the RPG features, which transform the defensive classes of mobs, and mobs with a level of 63 and higher will have certain magic resistances and also resistances to holy damage, so we want to decrease this to do more damage. I will show you in the gear section how you can get those spell pen values. Alright, when we look into gear, now with the release of Molten Core and Onyxia, we have a lot of options to gear up our Templar. I suggest you go for the tier 2 of the Shaman set you can get in Molten Core right now, and from Onyxia, the hat, the bracers, and the leggings. The set bonus is just super good because it increases our attack speed by 3% and also our crit, and it has really good stats with it. Alternatively, you can also go with the tier 1 set, of course, of Shaman, which is the Earth Fury set here. That's also viable and it has a lot of really good stats. You can play it from heroic upwards. It's always a good choice as a set bonus. We also want the Rogue set with its other 3 set bonus, because the set bonus of the Rogue set tier 1 increases our melee ranged attack speed by 5%. So I suggest you could go, for example, for shoulders, chest and gloves with the Rogue set, because it has also a lot of hit expertise on it, so quite a good set bonus here. Those are solid options. If you want to take something from Mythic Plus instead, the Stratholm Militia Shoulder Guard is still super good. Boulders of Whispering Flames are also a solid option, or something else which helps you to achieve your thresholds. For Cloak, the Shifting Cloak, the crafted one, is still a super good option. You could also go with the Graverod Cape, for example. The Cape of the Black Baron is a good option. Shrouded Mist, also solid, for example. For enchants, I haven't talked about this here. For chest, you have to look at what you are missing. That's Embrace is always a super good Sul'Gurub enchant because it gives us attack power and expertise. If you miss it instead, go with Falcon's Call. Both are viable. Take what you need to get your thresholds. 30 attack power on shoulder, of course, and agility on cloak. On chest, you can either go with stats or with expertise enchant, whatever you need to get your expertise to 26. On bracers, you can go with spell power or expertise. Those are both solid options for you. For bracers, I suggest the tier 2 one. If you can't get them, try to get the Shaman tier 1 or something alternatively from Mythic 10, like the bracers of the Stone Princess. Dark Water bracers, also really good. For weapon, here of course it's absolutely juicy. If you can get yourself a Sulfuras, Hand of Ragnaros, even in heroic, it's super good and you should absolutely use it because it's insanely good, this weapon. But not everyone wants to build this. Instead, you can also go with Infernus. This is a drop from Onyxia, from Basalthan, the first boss on site. Super strong axe. Obsidian Emberland also drops from Onyxia, also really good. Mace of the Dragon Knight, a good option. Spinal Reaper, also really strong. Accessorator from the world bosses. You have a lot of options to play around with here. Also Glacierbone Greatsword or Bone Reaper's Edge, good weapons for you. You want Rider on your weapon enchant for PvE because it procs more often and is more consistent than Ninja's Focus, also a little bit cheaper. For Girdle, you can go with the Rudgeon Cord from Onyxia. That's a really good girdle for you. Otherwise, a Mythic 10 option is a Slumbering Voice belt here. Timbermore Girdle also possible, so a lot of options. For boots, Roof-Dart Battle Boots from Mythic 10, super good. Greaves of the Funeral Judgment from Mythic 10, also really good. Albino Croc Scale Boots. You have a lot of options here which you can take. For rings, the Signet of Transformation Mythic 10 is absolutely insane for you because it has agility, attack power and spell power on it. Band of Sulfurous of the Beast, for example, also insanely good if you can get your hands on one of this. Brainsfin Ring, this is a Worldforged item, also really solid. And the Band of Akoria, of course, also really good for you. So a lot of options once again. For Trinket, I absolutely suggest to get the Eternal Flame artifact because it has everything we want, with haste and attack power and a super good proc. For your second option on trinkets, you can go with Ramster and Lightning Bolts. This is also super good. Strength of the High Chief is good. You have a lot of option here. Also the Alchemy Visceral Shoes, also super good active item, so a lot of options. And Volcanic Abalest as a crossbow is really good. Rip Hook from Mythic 10 is also really good, or Alice Final, also super good from Will of Sogoth. Don't forget to get your plus 12 attack power on it. Another way of gearing is if we go for spell pen. Now with our gear, it's possible to go for 60 spell penetration, and to get this, you can go in your trinket slot here. I would suggest to keep the Eternal Flame artifact, but you can go with the 3 corner carp, for example. This gives you 26 spell penetration and 20 hit rate. This is a Worldforged item, and combine it, for example, with the Roughed Weathered Ring, because this gives you haste, attack power and spell pen. Insanely good. And finally, on your neck, you can go with a Loon Tear fragment. Keep in mind, you need to get your expertise caps, but this is a combination which gives you around 60 spell pen and is super strong because spell penetration allows you holy damage, which you deal a lot with your dots, to do more damage. So this is really good and a solid way to increase your damage with this gear set, and I suggest from now on to get 60 spell pen. I recently set up a Ko-fi page here, so if you want to support me, feel free to tip here. Creating guides for World of Warcraft takes up a lot of time and I would appreciate some support for it. So if you want to support me, you can do this here. Please only tip if you can truly afford it. It's not necessary at all, but it will help to improve the quality of my videos in the future. For rotation. For the single target rotation, we have a kind of straight way to play now. Your goal is to stack up Righteous Lunge 10 times and then press 4 times Condemn. The reason for this is your Condemn will snapshot the damage increase from your Righteous Lunge, and this means when we stack up 4 times after Righteous Lunge, we will keep the stacked dot the whole fight. To achieve this, you will start with Light's Hope at the beginning, because this gives us enough energy to be able to press 10 times Righteous Lunge and 4 times Condemn, and we finish this off with Blade of Faith. This is your first round of rotation. Afterwards, you want to reset with another 10 times Righteous Lunge and 1 time Condemn after it to keep your Condemns running. Afterwards, you can press Argent Blade and Scarlet Hammer to get the debuff on the target. You can also, if you want, do this earlier in the rotation when your Argent Blade procs to simply get the armor penetration running, or when you run low in energy in between. Make sure to always activate your Librams in between, so you get your melee haste buff running. To get it running, I combined my Librams now with Glory and my trinkets, so every time I press my Libram of Grace, Fervor, Consecration or Tenacity, I also activate Glory, Light's Hope and my trinkets in it. So much for the theory. I will show you now how this looks in fight. So I run straight up, activate my stuff and press Righteous Lunge 10 times. The 5th time here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we go Condemn 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we will go with Blade of Faith. And you have seen we got everything activated. And round 2, Righteous Lunge. Now we can go Argent Blade and Scarlet Hammer in between to get our energy running again. To stack up 10 times. This is the most important part because our Condemn runs 10 times. And now time for Condemn. And now you can go Argent Blade, Scarlet Hammer and Chastise. And after this, you just rinse and repeat and activate your Librams in between. So this is basically our main rotation now. 10 times Righteous Lunge into Condemn, 4 times into Blade of Faith. Second round, 10 times Righteous Lunge into Argent Blade when it procs with Scarlet Hammer into 1 Condemn to keep the chain running and Chastise afterwards. And after this round, you have to activate your Blade of Faith again. This is your main single target rotation and will do the most possible damage because of the snapshot of your dots. If you absolutely want to min-max it, you could also just activate your trinkets if you have active ones before you press Condemn, because then your Condemns will stack up. If you lose your stacks during an encounter in between, just rinse and repeat your first round to stack up 4 Condemns with 10 Righteous Lunge. In AoE scenarios, your rotation looks a bit different. I try to press as many Holy Cleave as I need for the amount of enemies to hit everyone around me. Always activate Libram of Consecration in AoE packs together with Glory and your trinkets. And then I will go with Righteous Lunge until I get procs for Argent Blade. Once I get Argent Blade procs, I will just go with the Argent Blade Scarlet Hammer combo as much as possible during the encounter with a lot of enemies, because it will do the most damage in AoE scenarios. If I don't get a proc, I press Righteous Lunge in between. You never press Condemn in trash packs or AoE scenarios like this, only when you have to apply it to a boss. So this looks like this. I run up to the enemy, activate my stuff and Holy Cleave. I do 5 times here. I got an Argent Blade proc, so Argent Blade, Scarlet Hammer, Argent Blade, Scarlet Hammer, Argent Blade. No proc, so Righteous Lunge, Argent Blade, Scarlet Hammer. Fishing for another proc here, Argent Blade and Chastise. You can do Blade of Faith if you are playing high Mythic Plus keys where you know that the mobs will live longer, but most of the time you want to finish with Chastise instead of Blade of Faith, but in some scenarios you can use this finisher as well. For macros, I like to do startattack macros. I put this on all my abilities with just show tooltip. You don't need to put this inside. You can just write show tooltip, cast a spell, and start attack. With this, my Argent Blade won't transform into Scarlet Hammer. Instead, it will show up on my free space here, which is my R button. I like this more, and also it allows me to never lose a start attack when I'm near a boss. I do this with all my spells here. Next, I absolutely suggest to get yourself mouseover macros for your cleanse spells, or for example like Temple Guardian here, because what this allows is I can use my spells on targets I'm not clicking on, for example this player here. I just jump at him with this macro without having to press left click on him, and I don't have to change my target with this macro. I do this for all my cleanse spells and my heal spells, also for my gifts. Pretty useful. Finally, as I told you in the rotation section already, with our short duration to get 10 righteous lunges up to keep our condom stacks up, I like to simply combine my Librams together with Glory and Light's Hope, as well as my active use trinket when I have them on, and a start attack. This allows me to just press one button and to activate one Libram like Fervor, Consecration, Grace, Tenacity here, and I also cast the other spells on top of it. Light's Hope is just with it. Light's Hope is activating a cooldown. I often use it on a button manually, but Glory is not on a global cooldown, so you can just press your Libram and activate Glory as well as your trinket at the same time. I will link all macros down below in the video description. Next, of course, I will once again put down my weak aura for the Templar with the swing timer and all the oaths I have here. It's still not given free by the Ascension database, so I have to split it up into comments, but I will put a pinned comment under the video where you can just simply copy the code for it. Make sure to copy both parts of it so it will work in your weak aura 5.2.12. For consumables, we want the Distilled Flask of the Executioner as our main flask because it gives us attack power and crit. You want to use Scroll of Agility here because it gives weight up agility, really good damage boost. For food, you want a table, a feast from your guild, Lamlet, Magnifique, the good option and a cheap option if you have to bring your own food. For weapon enchant, Shadow Oil is your absolutely best in slot here because it directly scales with your spell power and you have a lot of spell power, so this will do a good amount of damage. The Wizard Oil, which enchanter can make, is also a solid option for your weapon if you want a cheaper version than Shadow Oil. It increases your spell power directly and your crit, so you can also use this, but Shadow Oil will be better. And finally, I don't have them here, but you also want to use potions and you want to use haste potions. They increase your haste for about 30 seconds. You can use them before an encounter and during an encounter, so those are also really good consumables you want to use if you want to min-max. What do I think about the Reworked Templar? Overall, in my opinion, I think the adjustments to the class and the rework is a good thing. It's a hard nerf for the Crusader Templar, of course, but this class was just too OP for min-maxers with its damage ceiling, which was basically non-existent, so it was necessary to keep the class a bit intact with the nerfs. The adjustments of the class helped to make this class way easier to play. It took out the complexity of the class, most of it at least, which not everyone likes, but for the casual players it's easier to play the Templar now. But of course you do less damage than before, and honestly the Crusader Templar is now way weaker than its Seer-Lord counterpart. This is the reason why I will swap to Seer-Lord. I will play the other build and I will also do a guide for it soon. The Seer-Lord has way longer oath chains and the possibility to increase its damage way longer than the Crusader has now. Also, it's just cooler to dual wield as a paladin-like class, so that's the reason why I like it as well. And it does really good damage. The Crusader now does good single target damage, also still good AoE damage, so it's still a viable class, but it's way weaker than before. And that's my updated Crusader Templar guide. Thank you all very much for watching and thank you for your great feedback. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe and hype this video and my channel for more World of Warcraft Conquest of Azeroth content in the future. Special thanks goes out to my channel members who support me with the hard-earned real-life money. You guys are just awesome. Thank you so much and see you in the next one.